reverse opt-in. You guys heard of that?
Say it.
Basically, it just means that normally when you say, here, you get this neat thing if you give me your name and address, right? That's an opt-in. Well, this is where you actually give them something first, and then at the end of it, you ask for the opt-in. You'll see more and more these days where somebody puts up a video, right? At the end of the video, it says, if you want more, or the next part, or whatever. So you've kind of given them a taste of what you're going to be offering them. And I would say, Pat, would you agree that's kind of congruent with the way things are right now, especially with the social networking sites? There's kind of more pressure now to deliver something valuable content first instead of teasing them and saying, okay, That's really what I would suggest is you give that a try since you're going to be doing some video here anyway. You're getting familiar with that. It doesn't have to be fancy.
When you give them a video, some information.
Well, you might have the video actually ends up being the draw to the site. So let's say you explain something. Like I was just on the site earlier today where it talked about article marketing, right? The guy went on for about maybe 3 to 5 minutes talking about article marketing. It was cool, good video. And there was the opportunity on the side to opt in. So it was just kind of implied, you're here, this is the kind of content, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. And you've already proven your value by, there's not so much of a cat and mouse kind of shell game where it's like, okay, if you want to, make money in the next 15 minutes, give me your name and email address and I'll tell you how to do it. It's kind of,
What site was this?
Oh, don't worry about the site. It's just the basic thing is that, in fact, I don't remember the domain, so I can't tell you there. But the main thing is you'll see this more and more, like you're probably on some other lists these days where you're being offered to watch, Mass Control or all the various different things. That's reverse opt-in for the most part. That's what they're doing. They're sending you a video, which in the past you probably would have had to opt in to see in the first place. Now they're just sending you to watch a video. Sometimes they're 20 minutes, And so I did that back in 2006, I guess. I was doing a survey, and I had them take the survey. And at the end of the survey, I said, hey, if you want to know what other people put in for their surveys, what the answer is, then opt in and I'll send it to you. But I didn't want to put the opt-in before the survey because that seemed kind of obnoxious. After all, they were doing me a favor by filling out the survey, so asking them to opt in would only reduce my data coming in. I think these are kind of guerrilla list building methods that are not going to necessarily get you the 100,000 name list that you might be fantasizing about, but as Pat will teach you, it's a much more concentrated and perhaps a much more useful list anyway. And that is an important factor because you don't want a large percentage of your list that doesn't respond. You don't want them sitting around doing nothing, not opening your emails, not clicking on your links. I don't want to get too geeky on here, but basically it can signal to the anti-spam forces that basically you're just sending out spam. And so basically you want to have an active list that opens your emails, that wants what you're sending, remembers you, all that kind of stuff. And if you have 1,500 of them instead of 15,000 of the old kind of list, I'd say more power to you. But let me give you an example. Here's how you can create an ebook, real easy, and have it get you traffic at the same time. It's a slightly different approach than what Pat's already taught you, because it doesn't involve any JV partners. Okay. What you do is you write a series of about 12, maybe 15 articles. Okay. And you put them out on articlemarketer.com. Get yourself an account here. It's like, I don't know, $69, $80. I forget. I got a bunch of memberships. And you do unlimited articles and set yourself aside maybe a day or two a week to do a couple articles a week. Okay? They're like 500 words. You can't write any more than that or they won't accept them. And if you put your own link back to your site at the end of the article, and they'll give you all the instructions, and there's some stuff you have to learn in terms of how to format the text and all that kind of stuff to make it work. But your resource box has your link in it. And when people read your article, when they're distributed, that's what these guys do. Article Marketer distributes your article all over the place. I'm working on a project right now, and we've got 6 articles out there, and they've been distributed, 6,000 to 8,000 times, cumulatively, all the different articles. So what happens with that is twofold. One, live people actually reading the articles could come to your site. Okay, that's one way. The second way is that when you have your article starting to be out there in thousands of different places, Google starts to take notice of your website more, and for the keywords that are appropriate for your niche, you start to rank higher in Google over time. You can do this all with a blog as well, but you can drive traffic to your blog by doing articles as well. But the basic idea, it's a time-tested strategy, and the nice thing is that you can take those 10 or 12 articles and expand on them, and pretty much you have an ebook. You just make them sequential in content, and people will be happy to get your ebook then when they come to your site after that. And just keep doing it. Keep doing articles once a week, twice a week. I have a project I'm working on right now where the website, it was a blog, started out at an Alexa ranking of 6 million, which is basically off in space somewhere. And in less than 3 months, we've got it down to 950,000 just with blog posts and 6 articles. So that's blogging 2-3 times a week, usually twice, and I think 7 articles. In terms of a list building tactic, you may want to consider that if you're not real big on writing articles. You can go to forums in your niche and essentially start posting comments. Useful comments, be helpful. You know, don't sling mud with people and join in all that kind of stuff that sometimes people do in forums. If you look like the knowledgeable, wise one, then you will start getting traffic to your site. If you're talking, all you have to do in most forums is go in and see what the hot topics are and just jump right in the middle of that and start answering people's questions. Or go find the answer to their question. And then, again, you have a little resource link typically back to your site. And the other thing is to know the rules of the forum so that you don't unknowingly break one. Because how you present your website and what you can and cannot do varies by forum. You know, some of the more marketing-oriented forums, there's a little bit more leeway. But some niches are very anti-marketing, and you have to really know the culture of what you're getting into. But the point is, anywhere you go, if you are perceived as an expert and you're helpful, people are going to want you to answer their questions. And if you tell them you've got a resource, whether it's a video or a free ebook or a membership site or whatever it is you're doing, they're going to naturally flock to you as long as the forum has some traffic. So make sure the forum isn't some ghost town where nobody shows up but once every 6 months. And, you know, yeah, porn's really great. It gets a lot of traffic. It kind of makes my point, though. Is just because it gets a lot of traffic or is busy doesn't mean it's appropriate for you, or that you'd even want to get involved in it. So it's really a question of are the niches that you have some sort of an advantage in, whether you have a public domain work that you found that you can tell is in demand or would be in demand if you did something with it. That you can research that niche and make sure that it's valuable. If you have natural experience in something, you can really what you're doing is you're trying to match up what you already have an advantage in with what people actually want. That's really the balance that I look for. Now, it doesn't have to be you're the expert. I mean, you could say the advantage is you know an expert, or you're willing to go find an expert on something, and that becomes your advantage. So it doesn't have to be about you, but I really do prefer to have, all my businesses have been in niches that I was a customer in as well. When I got into the trading business, I had been studying it for 2-3 years, and I was actually an active trader at the time, and things were going well. So that's why I did that. I wouldn't have just gone into basket weaving or something like that, because that's not my mindset. I'm really on or off. If I don't care about a topic, I just don't care about it, and I can't make myself do it. Other people can. So you've got to know yourself in that regard. If you're capable of just saying, okay, this is the product, this is the research, this is the numbers, great. But just look at your past activities and see what you've stuck with, what you've excelled at. If it did involve a certain sense of you're really interested in it,